Welcome to Nigeria Superfans Forum, the biggest football show in Africa. My name is Olafemi Ashaolu. Of course, again, we are here to talk about football on the continent. Kyle Ogundari and James Agberebi joins me via video. James wasn't around in our last recording, but thankfully he's around now. James, you're welcome to the show. And Kyle, both of you, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Femi. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Femi. Yeah, nice to be on the show today.
Okay. So quickly, let's give our fans a sneak peek into what we'll be discussing on the show today. We'll start in Ghana. Last time we talked about Daniel Friye-Bane, about the controversy surrounding his contract, and of course, finally he has moved to FC Zurich in Switzerland. But something striking, according to the club, is in the contract that the details of the contract will not be disclosed, and again that they will be linking up with the club after the 2023 CHAN. So we'll be looking at if that is legal, if that is allowed by the Confederation of African Football. And of course, we're talking about former Ghana coach Kwasi Appiah, who talked about how his attempt to use juju, black magic, like we call it here in Africa, backfired during his playing days. And in Cameroon, Samuel Eto'o has uncovered maybe possibly the biggest fraud in football, where a number about 44 under 17 players who are trying to falsify their age failed an MRI scan, and according to reports, authorities in the country are trying to smuggle them into playing in the under 17 qualifiers that will serve as the under 17 Nations Cup championship. So we'll also be looking at that today on the show. Once again, wherever you are joining us from around the world, we welcome you to Nigeria Superfans Forum. We did it together in 2022. This is a brand new year. Let's do it together. Guys, let's get started. James, I'll start with you. Last time you were not around. Claudia and I talked about Daniel Friye because then I remember a board member of Arts sworn that they're not going to allow him go free. But finally, he has moved to FC Zurich in Switzerland. And the club, according to the statement, I think I'll quickly read that statement, so it won't be my word. The club, according to the club, they welcome him to the club, and they said the parties have agreed not to disclose the details of the transfer. Zurich warmly welcomed Daniel Friye and wishes him every success. James, I don't know what part of the contract. Yeah, we know he signed a 3-year contract, but the club are saying that the other details of the contract, both parties have agreed not to disclose it, James. I think for me, I think there is something that the club do not want us to know. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. When it comes to African teams, we always hear different things like this. I mean, there are some teams in Europe when transfer is made, they don't disclose. The only time I know that they hardly disclose is the amount. But in Italy, they will tell you how much the transfer, how much the club, how much is involved in the transfer. I know, but in this case, I don't know. In African issue, in our own part of the world, yeah, apart from the transfer, there's always this secrecy, everything about the transfer of players. I don't know why we always go through that part. Even in Nigeria, yeah, sometimes when a club, when a player moves from Nigeria, from the Nigerian team, especially going to Europe, you will not even see anything. No announcement from the club website. You just see the player unveiled in the new club. Then later you start hearing, we are not aware that the player moved. We are not part of the deal, and so you just know that there's something amiss. I mean, I think it's high time our club side, not only in Nigeria but also in Ghana and every other African country, to sit down and know how to trash out contract, so that you not stall these players' career, because this is a very important move for them. Every dream of every player from Africa is to move abroad to play for good teams, so that they're able to showcase their talent. But when it comes to issues like this, you start hearing different stories. At the end of the day, who suffers for this? It's the player that suffers for this, because this is career. So all these administrators and officials, I mean, you hardly hear them get into the news. It's the player at the end of the day. When FIFA gets involved, it's either they ban them or something happens. So I mean, it's very important that you trash out things like this, so that this guy can play his football without issues, because it will affect no matter what. So that's one part I feel that they should look into very well.
All right. Okay, Akaude, I think the significance of disclosing the contract sometimes is when things go wrong, at least people can always make either of the party accountable to agreement they've had. I remember when Rich Noruma was at Soshio, I think he had a problem with the club. I learned he signed a very long, lengthy contract. And I think it was binding at that time for him to stay. But talk about the case of Daniel Friye. Is it an African thing that they will say, okay, we do not want you to disclose this part of the deal, or it is acceptable if both parties do not want to disclose details of the agreement they've had together?
Let me quickly say this. It is what it is. The most important parties to a player's contract have four. There are four parties involved: the player and his agency, the two clubs, the selling club and the buying club, and then the FA. In this case, the Switzerland FA, because he's going to be playing in the Swiss league. As a matter of courtesy, they should lodge a copy of his contract with the Ghana FA too. But once those people have been taken care of, and all these concerns have been addressed in the contract, the duration, the amount, everything has been addressed. So what all of us are complaining about is the fact that they are not telling the public. And while it is good, they are not obliged to tell us. If they don't want us to know, they are not. The most important, okay, if the contract don't go well, tell me, what powers do you have to go and adjudicate in the case? It is the FA, because the player will be put on the TMS, that the players transfer monitoring system. FIFA is also involved vicariously because of the TMS. Then the two teams, in this case, Out of Oaks and FC Zurich, and all of these people are not complaining. Femi, so people should stop complaining. And don't forget, the last time we were talking about this particular case, when the so-called board member was threatening fire and brimstone, I told you something. If you didn't forget, I said, if they do have a valid contract with this player, it can be sorted out. If they don't have, it's just blowing empty here. There's nothing they can do. So obviously, they have a reason, they have a valid contract with him, and that's why he's been let go.
Okay, Kayode.
Correct.
Okay, is it also right for according to the club, they said it will move to Zurich after the 2023 CHAN. Is it legally acceptable? Because as it's were now, he's no longer a player of Ashanti Kotoko. I don't know. I wouldn't Out of Folk, I beg your pardon. He's no longer a player of art, and he has signed a legal contract with another club, but he's going to play in a tournament that is meant for players in leagues in Africa.
I beg to disagree, Femi. He is a player of Hearts of Oak until the contract with FC Zurich kicks in, which will start running from the end of the CHAN. That's part of the negotiation. He is still technically a player of Accra Hearts of Oak. He can still validly play for them. He is still their player until his contract with Zurich will not kick off until after the CHAN. So technically, he can play in the CHAN because he's still a player. Fine, everybody knows his future. He's going to leave Hearts of Oak at the end of CHAN. That is agreed. But the contract will stipulate that it will start with effect from this WEF, with effect from the end of the AFCON, wherever that is. That's when he will become fully a player of FC Zurich. What he has now is an agreement in principle, Femi. That's what he has. That will now become a solid contract as soon as he moves to Switzerland. For now, he's still in Ghana. He's still with his parent club until the end of this thing. The two parties and their lawyers are also not dummies, Femi. Let's credit these people with some intelligence. They will not sign a player when they know that is against the rules of the competition and still want him to play at the AFCON. No, he has an agreement in principle to play with, to go sign for, to go to FC Zurich at the end of the CHAN. But for now, Femi, if you go and check when he's going to be listed for the CHAN, he will not be listed as a player of FC Zurich. He will be listed as a Ghana player from Accra. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I saw a lot of reactions online, and I think people actually have value, but because some people are saying that Cristiano Ronaldo has joined Al Nassr for $200 million or pounds, wherever it is, that everybody knew how much Ronaldo will be earning even per week, and they're saying how much the Daniel Afri will be earning at FC Zurich, that all of them are trying to hide. Okay, let's leave Daniel now. Let's move to James Kwasi Appiah. James, I'll start with you. Is your namesake? I've never used to dream before in my life, but what I've been made to realize is that it makes life better, but for people, for those who believe in it. But when you use it and it backfires on you, I think there's really some cause for worry there. Let's talk about this coach, James, of course, former Black Stars coach. In a YouTube video interview with Yeboah TV, was talking about how he attempted to use black magic during his playing days. It says, as a matter of fact, the juju backfired to the extent that he sustained an injury on the very leg. The juju the Malam gave him, he kept the juju in his socks, and he sustained injury in that very leg. Quickly, I'll read what he said. Okay, I'll read now. He said, when I was at Prestia, I said I used to read Psalm 91 and then go and play football. He said it was something I did constantly, even when I wasn't even a church goer. So when I joined Kotoko from Prestia, some people came to me and said, you can't play Kotoko just as you see it. You have to be fortified. So they took me to see a Malam, and he tied something for me. He told me to put it in my socks. I got injured on the very leg where I placed the thing. So since then, I have never tried it again. And he went on to say that 1982 AFCON, he missed it because of this same very circumstance, James.
I don't know when we'll stop hearing trash like this. But I mean, that's what it is, trash. Because if truly Juju works in football, I mean, Africa should have won the World Cup multiple times, but so far the highest we've been to is the semi-final, which Morocco.
Maybe the Europeans have a higher Juju.
Maybe, who knows? It could be that, So this is not the first time I've been hearing it. I remember former Nigerian international, I find with this, he also spoke about experience in Benin Republic, where he had to leave the place because of Juju. And I think the whole idea, at the end of the day, the so-called Juju only ends up destroying careers. I mean, it's not as if it's something positive, where once they get into it, it makes them join clubs like maybe Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, all the big clubs. You never hear things like that. You just hear things of, it backfired at the end of the day. So it just, even former, also Taribo West, I think he made mention of something like this. Getting protection from some abalis or whatever from other part of Africa. So sometimes, I don't know. African players, I think at that time, just focus on your football. Whoever is talented, and once you focus yourself, you put yourself out there, you will be seen. I mean, it's not a science or whatever. You find there are people with talent that at the end of the day, they don't get too far in their career, but I do we've seen also who are able to break through. Are we going to say Cristiano Ronaldo, the like Lionel Messi and the likes, so Juju that got them to where they are? I mean, everybody, we have a lot of talented players, and the ones that will shine. Those that will not shine, they will not shine. It's a two-way thing. But when we start hearing issues of we use Juju and the rest, and at the end of the day, I have never heard any good thing about whoever come up with this Juju issue, and you hear them doing well in their career. I mean, imagine what he said, that he missed the AFCON 82. I mean, I think that maybe that's the prize, or the consequence of going into such. So maybe if he had been himself, he would have made the AFCON. I bet Pele was part of that squad. I think it was 17, and they won it. So, and it's still going on. It's something that a lot of players still believe in. And I just hope that they just put all that aside, focus on your talent, grow yourself, put yourself out there so that good clubs will come for you. You know, so
Okay.
for me, that's just it. Yeah.
Okay. Kayode, is juju black magic? Is it different from belief? Because even sometimes when you see even players, European players, South American players, when they come walk to the field, you see some of them performing some form of tradition, some form of custom. You see some of them kissing their inner hand. You see some of them, doing all manner of things. Some of them even raising their hands, praying. I think to them that is some form of ritual. But is it different from the juju that African players use to play football?
Femi, this is a very, very interesting question, and it's something that's troubled my mind for a very long time. The first question is there juju in the first place? What we think is juju, that's believe in the supernatural, one. Then there's this African traditional beliefs, the mindset of the people, and then how does it relate with football? My understanding is that as an African, I will not sit down here and tell you that there's no juju. But to now contextualize it, to put it into the framing of football, how does juju work in football? Not if there's juju truly. I'm sure, like James alluded, that a number of African countries like Mali, Ivory Coast, Senegal, Burkina Faso would have won multiple World Cups.
Even Ghana.
No, incidentally, if you say this, you will see what our Ghanaian friends will say. Ghanaians believe that Nigerians believe more in juju than themselves. They believe
I
that
do not agree.
you do not.
I do not agree.
Wait until this program
Remember 2021 AFCON that even some players threatened not to play for the Black Stars again if the
Femi,
FA failed to contain the
I'm
influx
just telling you what
the camp.
I know about the two societies. The Ghanaian society believes that more Nigerians do juju than them, and that this is a function, is a reflection of the Nollywood movies that some of them watch. They believe that. I had a friend back then in Accra who will always ask me that how much juju do I also have, because she believed that every Nigerian has juju. That's a fact. So for me, these countries are not only in Africa. There are some countries in South America. I have a friend from Haiti. Haiti is like the poorest country in the whole world. Is in the southern or western hemisphere. It's one of the poorest countries in the world, but the quantity and quality of juju that they have there, they call it voodoo. They call it voodoo. The quantity and quality of juju that they have there, Femi, is more than what the whole of Africa have.
But
Yes.
is it a black thing? Because I know Haiti, they are also, majority of them are black.
That's why I talked about the African cultural beliefs and mentality. We believe that there's an higher being, Femi. The way Christians and Muslims believe in God, the typical traditional Africans believe that there's a God, there's a higher being that you can talk to, who can do supernatural things for you. So what form of supernatural things you want depends on you. And those who go to collect these things from Debia, from Babalawo, from Abalis and everything, they have the same belief, the same mentality with those Christians who kiss the cross, who does the sign of the cross and everything. Femi, is all forms of belief. There are various forms of belief. So the question now is juju effective in football? I do not agree. It always backfires for me. I have a personal experience that time will not permit me to share with football and
personal experience.
Personal experience with football and juju.
Okay, Malam also gave you something to put to your socks.
No, on the contrary, a team that we played they used juju and believed they were as good as my team was. But like James said, eventually it backfired when Like, you remember what happened in 1990, Ghana, Nigeria 2000, the semi-final against Senegal, where the late
Yeah.
Kashima Olaloko went into the
Yeah.
Senegalese box to bring out something, some substance suspected to be juju. So something similar happened in my case, but like I said, we are running out of time. So let's leave this till another time when we have enough time to talk about it. But like I said, I do not believe there's juju in football that can make you win. The only juju I know that is in football is the one that can make your teammate not be able to play. Because I remember there's a former Super Eagles player who played, I don't want to mention the country, he played in an African country, and because of that, he will never allow you to come near his boot, whether he's playing or not. The moment he forgets his boot for 10, 15 minutes, he stops wearing that boot. He will not wear it again because he believes that something would have been added to that boot. So there's juju according to African beliefs, but not in football. I know this will generate a lot of interest from our viewers, but that's what I believe. African countries should have been winning like 20, 30 World Cups now if juju actually works in football. So I do not agree. It doesn't.
Okay. So apparently, let's throw this out to our fans, our viewers around the world. Do you think juju works in football? Do you think there is juju in football? You can also share your experiences in the comment section right there. Just before we move to Samuel, so very quickly, we're already running out of time. Just in 1 minute, Kwasi Appiah also talked about how some persons in Ghana back then, while he was in charge of the Black Stars, tried to influence the selection process. And he said when he invited young players like Mohamed Kudus to the national team, he was threatened. He wrote that threatened. He was threatened that they were going to sack him if he did not get results. And as a matter of fact, he has also put in for the Ghana job because when they asked him, remember it is vacant now. And of course, I think next month, the 2024 Africa Nations Cup qualifiers will be resuming. So the Black Stars FA, they're already hunting for a new coach. He said, why not? That is available for the job because his job is coaching. James, quickly react to the fact that I think it is more, I don't know, but I think I will assume that it is more prominent in Ghana for stakeholders in football to interfere in the job of the coach. Remember what happened, all the things Otuado faced in the build-up to the 2020 FIFA World Cup. Now, Appiah is also coming out to say that there were a lot of interferences. Very quickly, James.
It was not. I don't think it's only in Ghana. You have cases here also in Nigeria where we've heard of coaches who come out to complain. I remember I listened to a former Falcons and Golden Eaglet coach, Golden New Zealand, on a radio program, who said his team on 2005 Golden Eaglets squad, they crashed out in the group stage. That his home, they had to. There were so many issues about player interference that he had, at the end of the day, had to go with half of the squad that he doesn't even know them, because of interference, So it's not a Ghana thing. It's peculiar to Nigeria also, and it's something that it continues. As long as you have square pegs in round holes, you are going to continue having things like that. So it's not a new thing.
Okay, thank you very much, James, for the precision. Kyle, let's talk about the arguably maybe the biggest fraud in football that Samuel Eto'o, the president of FECAFOOT, has just unveiled. Together, he has suspended 44 under-17 players who were supposed to participate in a tournament called UNIFAC. According to the report, that tournament is supposed to stand as a screening process for the under-17 African, maybe qualify for the under-17 African Championship. But it's found out that most of these players, 44 of them, failed MRI, and some persons are also trying to smuggle them into qualifying, into making the squad. This is what we keep saying every now and then. Young players, allow them, catch them young as they come. But here again, in their own country, some persons are trying to sabotage maybe the future of Cameroon football. But thank God that someone like Samuel Eto'o was keenly watching. And they said he did some of even the research by himself. And he found out that some of these players are far, far, far older than the age they claim to be.
Femi, truth be told, I think one of the downsides of the underage competitions, as good as the intentions of FIFA was when they started in 1977, is the tendency for African countries to abuse the process. And this is because of ravaging poverty. Many people see football as a way out of poverty. And the easiest way to get prominence is to go through the national teams. So whatever it takes to get into the national team is what a lot of people want to do, including age falsification, which is very, very rampant in Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa, where records, births and deaths are not readily available. So it's easy for people to manipulate. Tell me, in the Western world, you find it difficult to manipulate your age because right from birth until you die, you need your birth, your date of birth for practically every transaction, including as much as your driving license. If you go to anywhere that an ID is required, what they want is to check your date of birth. So, Femi, it's not possible for you to tell somebody you are 17 yesterday and tomorrow you tell another person you are 15 because there's a paper trail. So, Femi is very, very, and because so that's why we have that issue. And luckily, I think Cameroonians and Africans should thank Samuel Eto'o, because the new rules now, Femi, is that once a player is found overaged in your team, the whole team is disqualified. The whole team is thrown out. It's not about, before it used to be the players affected will be asked to leave. Now, once one player is found to have flouted the rules, everybody, imagine that happening at the AFCON. That would be a national embarrassment for Cameroon. Of course, there will be entrenched interest against what Samuel Eto'o did, but for me and for a lot of people, he has saved the day for Cameroon. Femi, I keep saying this, Femi. Developmental football at age 17, age 20 is not about winning. It's about exposing players to the big time at that age. Femi, that's why FIFA set up that competition. The Africans have did a lot higher. Okay, Nigeria, we won the under 17 5 times. We qualified for another 3 finals. Ghana have won it twice. A whole lot of other countries have won it. How has it impacted our team at the national level? How many under 20s, how many under 23s have we won? Apart from age group competitions, Femi, have we won competitions? The World Cup just finished now. How many African Nigeria, by virtue of the players we have produced since 2011 till now, Femi, we should have had one of the strongest teams at the World Cup. If you are data driven, but we didn't even qualify for the World Cup. So when you cheat, Femi, you are cheating yourself twice over. You are denying real under 17s the opportunity to play. Then the under 20s, the under 40s that you take, masquerading as under 17s, they will squeeze you out in 2-3 years. And where would your country be? So for me, I think
time is really not on our
right,
side.
Femi, no problem.
James, I'll allow you in 30 seconds, so please react to this. Arguably, like I said, the biggest fraud in football, maybe even not even in Africa, because when some persons are trying to smuggle 44 under 17 overage players into a competition, James, I don't know what else to say. Thank God, like James Kayode said, that Samuel Eto'o was able to find that out.
Yeah, I think it's sad until we get things right, we are not going anywhere. The FIFA Under 17 World Cup, like what Kayode said, is to harness talent, but we've turned it to win at all costs stuff for ourselves. We won it, and at the end of the day, what have we done with it? So we'll continue to brace ourselves at the world stage, and the teams that have been winning the World Cup continue to win the World Cup, but they are doing the right thing, while we continue to deceive ourselves. So that's just it.
Okay, so guys, thank you for coming on the show today. There is no other better place to leave it than right here. Of course, there will always be issues to talk about. It's the beginning of a brand new year, and of course, things are happening. So our fans around the world, we throw it to you. Do you think there is juju in football? Does juju work in football? We call it black magic. We call it black power. Some people call it voodoo. Do you think it works in football? Do you think it exists in football? Please, let's have your thoughts in the comment section right there. Guys, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much.